Have you ever been drawn to the unknown? That inexplicable pull that tugs at your very soul, urging you to explore the forbidden, the mysterious, the things that go bump in the night. That pull of the mysterious, the forbidden, it's a sensation that can be both thrilling and terrifying, a dance on the edge of the abyss. Imagine this. You find a haunted doll on the dark web, not just any doll, but one with a history steeped in darkness, whispered about in hushed tones on obscure forums. Would you dare to invite it into your home? Would you risk the unknown, the potential for something sinister to cross your threshold? Most would scoff. Most would turn away. They'd dismiss it as mere superstition, a trick of the mind. Not me. I'm Zach Bagans, and I seek the darkness. I crave the unknown. It's a hunger that drives me, a need to uncover what lies beyond the veil. So when I stumbled upon that antique doll, eyes black as night, I knew I had to have it. It was as if it called to me, beckoning me to uncover its secrets. There were whispers on the forums, stories of its malevolent past, tales of misfortune and dread that followed in its wake. They spoke of the doll's past, a vessel of darkness, a conduit to the other side. But I didn't listen. I was too intrigued, too captivated by the mystery, a conduit to the other side. But I didn't listen. I was blinded by curiosity. The thrill of the unknown was too great to resist. I was blinded by curiosity. The allure of the hunt, the promise of uncovering something truly extraordinary was too powerful. Blinded by the thrill of the hunt, the excitement of discovery, the rush of adrenaline as I delved deeper into the doll's history. Little did I know, this hunt would lead me face to face with true terror. A terror that would challenge everything I thought I knew about the supernatural and about myself. The doll was more than just an object. It was a gateway, a bridge to a world of darkness and fear. And I had opened that gateway, not knowing what awaited me on the other side. As I held the doll, a chilling realization dawned on me. This was no ordinary artifact. It was a harbinger of something far more sinister, something that would test my courage and resolve. The storm was brewing, both outside and within. The haunted curiosity that had driven me to this point was now a source of dread, but there was no turning back. The darkness had been invited in, and it was here to stay. I am Zach Bagans, and this is my journey into the unknown. A journey that has only just begun, with the haunted doll as my guide. What lies ahead only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the darkness is here and it is very, very real. The dark web is a place of shadows, a hidden realm where anonymity reigns supreme and the unknown lurks behind every corner. It's a digital underworld, a place where secrets are traded and the forbidden is just a click away, a labyrinth of hidden truths and terrifying possibilities. Each path you take could lead to something extraordinary or something horrifying. It's a place where the lines between reality and nightmare blur. Finding the doll was like navigating a nightmare. The search was relentless, each step deeper into the abyss. The further I went, the more I felt the weight of the darkness around me. Each click, each page load, felt heavier than the last. The anticipation was almost unbearable, but I found it. The moment the page loaded, I knew I had stumbled upon something truly unsettling. The listing was simple, almost too simple. Haunted doll. You have been warned. The words were stark, devoid of any embellishment, yet they carried a weight that was impossible to ignore. The picture showed a porcelain doll, dressed in a faded white gown. It looked like something out of a forgotten era, a relic of the past that had somehow found its way into the present. Its eyes, two black pits, stared back at me. They seemed to hold a darkness that went beyond the screen, a void that threatened to pull me in. The air grew cold as I clicked buy now. It was as if the temperature in the room had dropped several degrees in an instant. The chill was palpable, a physical manifestation of the dread I felt. A shiver ran down my spine. It was a sensation that I couldn't shake, a creeping unease that settled deep within me. I tried to ignore it. I told myself it was just my imagination, that the cold and the fear were all in my head. I told myself it was the excitement, the thrill of the unknown, the rush of discovering something hidden and forbidden. Deep down though, a seed of unease had been planted. It was a small, nagging doubt that whispered to me, warning me that I had crossed a line, that I had ventured too far into the web's dark corners. The doll arrived 3 days later. It was a day like any other, but the air felt different, charged with an unspoken tension. A plain brown box, surprisingly light. It seemed almost too ordinary, masking the dark secrets it held within. I took it to my office, a place where I felt somewhat secure, surrounded by my research and tools. This was not a job for the faint of heart. My hands trembled slightly as I held the box, knowing the gravity of what lay inside. This was a case for Zach Bagans, a name synonymous with the paranormal. His expertise in dealing with haunted objects was unparalleled. Inside the box, nestled in yellowed tissue paper, lay the doll. It looked innocent enough, but I knew better, even more unsettling in person. Its eyes seemed to bore into my soul, as if it knew my deepest fears. Its porcelain skin was cold to the touch, sending a shiver down my spine. It felt almost lifelike, yet disturbingly cold. The black eyes seemed to follow my every move. No matter where I stood, they were always watching, always judging. I placed it on my desk, trying to maintain a semblance of control, but the room seemed to react to its presence. A wave of cold air washed over me, more intense than any chill I had ever felt. It was as if the doll was drawing the warmth out of the room. The room felt heavier, darker. Shadows seemed to stretch and grow, enveloping the space in an oppressive gloom. I tried to shake off the feeling, but it clung to me like a second skin. The air was thick with an unseen presence. I had felt this before, in other haunted locations. But this was different. This was more intense, more personal. The energy of a haunted object. But this was different. This was more intense, more sinister. It was as if the doll was alive, feeding off my fear, growing stronger with each passing moment. The first few days were uneventful. I kept waiting, anticipating. Then, the whispers began, soft at first, barely audible. They seemed to come from the corners of my office. "Help me," they'd say. Sometimes, "Get out." Shadows started to dance at the edge of my vision. Objects moved inexplicably. A book fell from a shelf. A door slammed shut. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. My gut told me it was the doll. This was just the beginning. The entity was testing its power. Testing me. Section 5. The haunting intensifies. The paranormal activity escalated quickly. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. The shadows took on menacing shapes. One night, I woke up to the sound of my name being whispered in my ear. The doll was gone from my desk. I found it in my bedroom, perched at the foot of my bed. Its black eyes stared at me with an unnerving intensity. I felt a cold dread grip my heart. This was no longer just a haunting. This was personal. Section 6. Terror in the Night. One night, the haunting reached a terrifying crescendo. I was sleeping when a blood-curdling scream ripped through the silence. I bolted upright, my heart pounding in my chest. The scream came from my bedroom door. It was my assistant, shaking and pale as a ghost. "The doll," he stammered. It moved. It spoke to me. I rushed to the office. The doll was no longer on the desk. It was gone. We searched everywhere, but it was as if it had vanished into thin air. Section 7. Seeking help, finding hope. I couldn't ignore it any longer. This was beyond anything I had ever encountered. I needed help. I reached out to a trusted colleague, a renowned paranormal investigator. He listened intently as I recounted the events of the past few weeks. When I finished, his face was grim. "This is a powerful entity, Zach," he said, "and it's attached itself to that doll." He told me about an ancient ritual, a way to sever the entity's connection to the doll and send it back to where it came from. It was dangerous, he warned, but it was our only hope. Section 8. The Ritual. We gathered in my office. The air was thick with apprehension. We arranged candles in a circle around the doll, which we had found back in its usual spot on my desk. The flames flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. We began the ritual, chanting ancient words, our voices echoing in the stillness of the night. The room grew colder, the air crackling with energy. Suddenly the doll's head snapped up, its black eyes blazing with fury. Section 9. A Glimmer of Peace. The entity resisted, but we were prepared. We continued chanting, our voices growing stronger, more determined. The struggle was intense. The air crackled and popped, the flames of the candles dancing wildly. Then as quickly as it began, it was over. The room fell silent. The doll's head slumped back down, its eyes now dull and lifeless. The entity was gone. We had banished it back to the darkness from whence it came. Section 10. Scars Remain. The experience left me shaken. I had stared into the abyss and the abyss had stared back. I got rid of the doll, of course. Some things are better left undisturbed. I still think about those black eyes though, the whispers that haunted my dreams, the feeling of being watched, of being hunted. The experience changed me. It opened my eyes to the true power of the unknown. The darkness out there is real, and sometimes it's best left undisturbed. Section 11. A warning to the curious. My story is a warning. A reminder that some doors are best left unopened. The dark web may seem like a game, a place of anonymity and thrills, but it's a dangerous game, one with very real consequences. If you ever find yourself tempted by the allure of the unknown, remember my story. Remember the haunted doll. And ask yourself, is it worth the risk?